Hey friends, grateful for another chance to teach, and so happy to report that yes, we are still in the season of the shag. At this point, chances are you have a great shag method going on, you know how to cut it. So I wanna share 3 ways to take your good shags to great. So let's start out with the most important feature, the face, right? Chances are your guest, their fringe is still a little heavy. Maybe you carved it out beautifully for a razor, you thought you took enough weight away, but then you dried it or it air dried and it's still just a bit heavy. So here's what we can do very simply, very effectively. Now, if you've taken my other classes in person or on the Sam Via channel, you know that I love to stand in front of my guest while cutting around the face. I like to use visual guides, visual references. So in this case here, using about 1.5 inches width from the center of the nose, so center of the nose, center of the face, chin, middle of the eyes, whatever you want to call it, we're gonna use that reference point to take about 1.5 inches width. All right, the amount of hair is correct in which I want to use. Yeah, it's a lot, that's okay. Here's what we're gonna do. We're going to elevate that hair straight up to where our shortest layer sits here. You see it? This is where those shag crown layers were sitting. I'm going to elevate it straight up to match that. When I get there, yeah, stretch your fingers out as long as they can go. We're gonna make this easy though. This is the hardest part of this little chop, is holding this with tension. We're gonna utilize our 14 tooth point cutting shears. Why? Because it quickly removes weight while creating that gorgeous separation and texture, creating positive and negative space without all the mechanics and stress. So let's go up close so you can see it straight up. Here we are. Chop, 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 chop. The hair slips along the blunt blade while the teeth cut it. Before we go any further, here's another view. 14 tooth point cutting shears. Go in there and remove that hair till it's cut away. Now, before we release, make a wish. Put that hair in your guest's hands and say, "Make a wish, Judy." And then they'll throw it on the floor and all that bad energy will be gone. Okay, the fringe is gonna be gorgeous and perfect now. Just watch. Obviously not like this. Let's comb it out using the mirror to guide and crinkle that hair in place. You can see how we took all the bulky heaviness out of that fringe and it blended gorgeously, seamlessly. What I love about a good shaggy fringe, what makes it great for me, is when you can just lift your fingers and levitate that hair, and in all directions it sits, it has shape, and it just cascades and frames around the face. So that's your simple way to make that really heavy fringe more shaggy and beautiful, seamless and easy. All right, number 2. The perimeter. You know, we have all this gorgeous texture now, and I want the curtains to match the drapes here, you know what I mean? It's important to me that the aesthetic is cohesive, and so I want the same design to be in effect here. So how can we match it up? I don't want to go in with the same shear here. I'm going to go with a different tool for my toolkit. We're going to use the Artist Series shear. Now, what I really love about this one is that it's powerful enough to deep point cut, but it's also delicate enough for this gorgeous perimeter detail work. And it keeps the ends really clean and structured, not too wispy, not too tenderly. A lot of my guests aren't wanting that this season. They're really wanting a little bit more structure on the perimeter, not completely fragile looking. So a way that we can do that, again, using our Artist Series shear, I want you to visually look at the perimeter of what's heavy, what is really, you know, too much weight here. You can see it here, that it's really solid. The perimeter is really solid. It's quite blunt. So what you want to do is visually choose pieces that can afford to be removed. So I'm going to visually gather pieces of hair. And now we're just going to elevate it straight up, and then we'll use our shear and cut up and out. I call this outcutting. So elevating that hair, go in there and removing weight. And then when you comb it back down, it's creating that separation and that matching sort of texture from the front. So visually, I'm going to look and I'm going to gather pieces that are too bulky, and then I will hold them straight up as I'm combing. I'm holding, creating more layers as they're falling down and creating a softer perimeter. Now, if the hair is really, really bulky and really, really thick around that perimeter, what you can do is skip the elevating altogether and do a little bit of bite and chew action. So what I mean by that, it's still gonna be visual. You'll see these areas around the perimeter that are too heavy. You will pinch them, and then using the inside piece of your shear, pinch, and using that inside part of the shear, pinch and chew, pinch and chew, pinch and chew, and you've broken up that solid perimeter, and now we have a more cohesive design. Texture matching texture. I love that. Okay, before we go to the third and final good to great shag technique, I want to give a shout out to Pivot Point Mannequins, making the most ethical, sustainable dolls out there. Third and final way to take a good shag to great. Let's do it. It's gotta be, you guessed it, yes, the crown area. So shags are good, we make them great, but what really makes them great, y'all, is if your guest loves it. So my guests love their hair when it grows out seamlessly. And what seems to get heaviest the fastest is that crown area. So here's what we're gonna do. Simple, simple, simple solutions. Crown area. Beauty School 101, where's the crown of your head? Let's create a circular like shape in that crown area. Not all crowns are created equal with head shape. So use your hairdresser intuition, you know what I mean? Some heads will be a lot wider, some will be a lot smaller. This is the general shape that you wanna see. Circle on top of the crown. Now, guest is sitting straight up and down in the chair. Shoulders flat, drop your shoulders, drop your baggage. Nice and tall. We elevate the hair, gathering all of it, condensed cutting here, straight up, again with our 14 tooth point cutting shears. Let's go in there and cut, 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 removing that weight. As it spills down, you can see the airiness, the lightweight, beautiful, layery texture that's gonna grow out so seamlessly. Now, if these sort of texturizing shears look a little scary, have no worries because they blend the hair seamlessly. So it's really these tools that are doing a lot of the work for us, as well as a lot of understanding of head form, how hair lays, and so on and so forth. So my friends, thank you so much for joining me. We took a good shag to great. Put your fingers in it, get your hands in there, put your flavor, and customize, customize, customize. I'm so grateful that I got to spend some time with you today. Please keep doing you, you be you, create all that magic out there in the world, be a good person, make the world a better place, and I hope to see you soon. Bye.